everyone. Today, I want to talk about what it is we're doing as we move from the unit on our community stories and our stories from our past into this next unit where we talk about a different kind of story. So, the last unit focused on what you are bringing into this classroom from your individual lives and the communities that you grew up in. These were your stories and your moments of significance. In this next unit, we're going to zoom out and look at the larger community of American society, a bigger story, a story of our nation, the beliefs that people hold, the promises that our Constitution and our legal system makes, and the dreams that we're encouraged to dream in America. We're going to consider how those have shaped us. In the end, you're going to take a stand about what you think it means to be American in modern times and discuss how that belief or that creed shapes your current path in life. So, this is the American Creed unit. And a creed is a statement of beliefs, and that's what you will be building towards as we work through the different readings in this unit. We're especially going to work to connect that to your vision for yourself as a college student. So, to start, we're going to start by looking at a common understanding, or maybe something you've encountered before, about this idea that there's an American dream in our nation, a vision, a collective vision of who we are and what we can become, more importantly. We want to consider what this American dream looks like in modern times. So, as we look at post COVID, as we look at inflation, as we look at impacts of technology, potential upward mobility, so all those things that are happening in our nation, we want to consider multiple perspectives as we get into this. And so one thing that we know is shaping our nation now is this great rift in politics, this political divide, and also this change in the way that we talk about politics. So one thing that you'll be doing is looking at multiple perspectives throughout this unit. And you'll be seeing how different people talk about this idea of the American dream, what it means to be American, their beliefs, what they talk about the Constitution and the legal promises. Some you may agree with, some you may get curious about, want to know more, and some may be very different from yourself. But one of the key learnings from this unit is going to be how to encounter a variety of perspectives respectfully, and especially ones that we don't necessarily agree with. So that was a brief introduction. Now let's talk about the homework for the next couple of days. First, some of you may have seen for Friday, I'm going to be asking you to read chapter 12 in St. Martin's Guide to Writing. And this is actually about reading strategies because we know reading and writing are connected. Because I'm going to be asking you to do more reading in the next few days and weeks tied to this idea about the American Creed, I want to have you build a toolbox of reading strategies, things that you can pull out that are going to help you understand what you're reading. So in the following reading assignments, some will ask you to choose different reading strategies. Some I'll say try this specific reading strategies as you encounter the text. My recommendation is to read each text multiple times, making sure you apply an active reading strategy for comprehension. We know that the more times we encounter something, the more likely it is to stick. And we know that the more we do as we read, the more likely we are to comprehend it. So this means highlighting, making notes in the margins during the first read, summarizing as you go, circling words to use in your vocabulary bank. And one encouragement I have for that is for you to select words that you may know but very rarely use. So we're going to talk about building our vocabulary bank out, not just for learning new words, but for potentially using new words. So as you come across words where you think, yeah, I know that, but I don't tend to use it, still please put that in your vocabulary bank as well. For Monday, I'm going to be asking you to read something written by the American journalist Dan Rather. And for this reading, I ask you to rewrite what you believe Dan's claim is, and then I ask you to fill out a graphic organizer. So for the first read, I encourage you to read, highlight key phrases, highlight keywords, again, maybe write some summaries, and of course, circle those vocab words. And when you read the article for the second time, I want you to capture some quotes in something called a they say, I say graphic organizer. So for this part, it might be good for you to pause the video, go to that assignment, and bring up that handout so you know what I'm talking about. So once you've done that, once you're looking at the They Say I Say graphic organizer, you can see that on the very left column, it asks about the source and the credibility. For this, you're just doing one source, the article by Dan Rather. So all you have to do is write the title of that article, that it's by Dan Rather, and then list why do you think he's a credible source? Why do you think we should listen to him? So you only have to fill out one box in that first column. The middle column asks you to pull quotes from the article. So pull those quotes. Usually I'll ask you to put a page number there as well. So this may or may not have page numbers, but even for your reference, as you're scrolling, you can capture which page is this on. So you just do the direct quote. And you can also put, is it Dan Rather saying this, or is it from a person that he's interviewing? That would be a good distinction to make. Because a lot of times when we read something, we'll read the actual person's writing, Dan Rather is writing this, and then they'll include a quote from somebody they interviewed or for some research. So it'd be good to capture, is this from Dan Rather or this from somebody named Peggy Sue or Juan or Frank? Okay, so who is actually saying this? And then on the far right, you have the I say. What do you say about that quote? How do you respond to it? What's it getting you thinking? Do you relate to it? Do you agree? Are there parts you disagree with? Are there questions that come up as you read the quote? So any kind of response. You can also think, if Dan Rather were sitting next to you and telling you about this, or the person was telling you their story, how would you respond to them? That's the I say section. So other than that, so that's one assignment for Monday. The second assignment has 2 articles, also the They Say I Say note catcher. And that's where you have to put the source in each one to make sure, where the source is coming from. And you're looking at 2 different perspectives about a research study. So it's the same study, the same results, and 2 different perspectives are writing about those results and what they conclude from it. So those are your assignments moving forward for Friday's class. And for Monday's class, you have some notes to take, you have an article to read and do some active reading in the note catcher. And then you have an assignment that has 2 articles in it. Again, do your active reading, vocab banks, and note catcher. And we'll be taking a look and discussing those when I get back on Wednesday next week. So if you have any questions, you can email me. I'll be on my email all weekend as I'm away presenting at these conferences. And other than that, I hope that you have a good week. Let me know if you need anything as always, and I'll be seeing you on Wednesday. Take care.